The other day I attended a meeting with authorization personnel, and they kept complaining about the need, the burden to lock and unlock users time and time again. Since I didn't have too much to do with my time, I started to play around with Insight Zap. So after a few days, I can summarize the activities in the following processes. First, I created the dashboard to must maintain users. Then I generated the process by which new users could be uploaded from Excel, and I ended with a process to auto-lock users. Okay, as a bonus, I will show you how the dashboard looks like in Fiori. Okay, so the first thing was a dashboard to must maintain users. I completed 3 toolbar functions. The first one locks and unlocks user. Okay, the same one, it just gets a flag whether to lock or unlock a user. The second one resets the password, and the third one is a bit more generic, gets a field from the logon data of the user, and sets it with a value. In order to test everything, I created an Insight Zap creation based on a sub list of users report, okay? And then I mapped the buttons onto the things I needed to do. User lock and unlock, setting the password, and setting a valid true and valid from dates. Okay? We will do that one section at a time. We will have a demo, and next we will move to the second topic. So with your permission, I will log into the system. And this is how the dashboard looks like, okay? I can select a few users and I can lock them. Okay? And I can change the valid true if I want. Let me have and there you go. But this is the more technical webinar, and therefore let me show you how these things were done. So in Insight, I will go to customizing. And over here, we'll find the things I was talking about. So lock and unlock. As I said, the interface is based on 2 fields, the username and a flag, whether to lock or unlock the user. In terms of code, the code is pretty simple. After I'm getting the data sent by Insight, over here, I'm just checking the flag IV lock unlock. If it's set to lock, I'm calling the BAPI user lock, else I'm calling the BAPI unlock. As usual, I'm sending back the return messages to the caller, and I will commit or roll back my work in case of a problem. Next is the password reset. So in this case, the interface should be the username and a new password, or the password to reset password, okay? And the code, again, is simple. I'm just calling the BAPI user change, and I'm sending the initializing password along with ABAP true flag, right? And if you would like to see how those buttons were manifested in Insight, I will go to functions. And as you can see, user lock and user unlock are using the same toolbar function, while the first, other than mapping the user onto the username, the lock and unlock, here we are sending a constant value of ABAP true to lock it, and In the second one, we are sending null above false, so the user will be unlocked. Okay. According to the same thing, the password reset uses the username from the report, and the password is fetched, we're getting it from the variable. Okay. Let me just show you how the variable looks like in Insight. This is the password. This is the default value. It was created using variables. The type of the variable is input. Okay, it means that not only that the user can see it, they can actually change it. And this is the default value of the password. And we have two more buttons. This one, the valid through is done using sending the constant, the field from logon data, and the value from the variables. And the second one, the valid from, is using the valid from field from logon and the date from the system variable, and it is today. Okay, so I think this is a good example where a standalone toolbar function can serve not only in this dashboard, you can use them all across Insight. Let's go back to the presentation. As soon as I finish this one, I thought of creating another feature to allow authorization people to mass upload and create SAP users. To do that, I created a new toolbar function by the name ZAuth user create, and I created an Insight Zap creation based on that toolbar function. I will demonstrate this one shortly. Then I downloaded an Excel template and I filled it with data and I uploaded it yet again from the Excel. How this one looks like. Let me go out. And I'm going to create another insight, a new insight. I will give it a name. Okay. And instead of using the regular transaction or snapshot, I'm using the function. I hope you're familiar with this feature. I'm going to call the user create toolbar function, and that's pretty much it. Okay. So now the system generated a whiteboard based on the interface of that button. So if I will write down new username, password, user group, and etc., I will be able to mark the records, press the user create, and everything will be created, all these users. But I will use another, the approach of Excel. I will download a sample file that uses the same interface. Okay, this is what I got. I have another file with data I prepared in advance. Okay, user 1, 2, 3 and names. Let me copy and paste it onto this one. I will save my work. I will go back and I will import that file. Let me bring my file import. Okay, so different users, different groups, and now I will mark all of them and let me create them. Actually, if you want to see that everything works correctly, we can go back to the first example, and hopefully we'll see the newly created users. Okay, so this is the powerful feature, because now business can ask for the creation of the users, and authorization personnel can just upload it and to the system. Next is I took the challenge, and I try to create an auto user log process. Okay, we know that the users are logged after 3 months they didn't log onto the system or something like that. But I think it's much more complex than that. So specific users should be logged quickly. Others, like the IT people, shouldn't be logged and stuff like that. And therefore, I came up with a process that's based on the BRF, sub-BRF business rule framework, which means that I can hand the decision to somebody from the business, to the CISO, for example. So I created a toolbar function by the name Authorizaion User Unlock, Lock and Unlock. This is the same one I presented you before. Then I created the BRF decision table that gets values, fields from a user, and replied with the decision whether this user should be locked, okay, or kept untouched. Then I came up with a formula function to communicate between Insight Zap and the BRF. As usual, I created an Insight Zap based on the list of users report, okay, with that toolbar function, the lock, and the formula function, which suggests whether a user should be locked or not. And to finalize this process, I came up with a background job that calls the creation with a specific display layout and locks all these users that should be locked. Let me go back to the system. First, I would like to show you the BRF schema. Okay, it looks something like that. This is the decision table. Let me show you of which field it is composed of. User group, user type, whether the user is valid. That depends on the valid true field. So if the date is not valid anymore, then it's going to be invalid user. How many days elapsed since last logon? What is the status of the password? Whether the user is locked and what is the reason for the lock? And it returns as a result the user lock decision, whether the user should be locked or untouched. Okay, and again, this thing could be exported using Excel, and the business may fill it outside the confines of SAP and import it yet again, actually forcing their will onto SAP. I'm not an authorization expert, and therefore I came up with the following schema. So if the user is already locked, then leave it untouched. Okay. If the user is invalid and not locked, lock it. If we are talking about dialogue users that belong to the training group and they didn't log on for the past 7 days, lock it. If it's a dialogue user and it didn't log on for the last 90 days, lock it, and all the rest leave them untouched. Okay, and the BRF works with the priority from top to bottom. Okay, next, let me show you how the formula function looks like. So this is the one, authorization auto user lock, and it is pointing at this class and this method. Okay, I can This is the class, and this is the method. The interface is exactly the same thing that the Fiori app gets, the user group, user type, whether it is valid or invalid, how many days elapsed since last logon, and so forth. Okay, and inside the code actually calls the application I showed you, the decision table. Okay, now let me show you how it looks back in SAP. So over here you can see this column. If I will mark it, you'll be able to see that this one calls the formula function I displayed. The prefix C means customer, okay, and it gets a user group, user type, valid, at the order that we defined, and the result is that this user should be locked. Okay, why? Because the date of last logon is like 500 days elapsed since the last day this user logged onto the system. If we want to see the behavior of other things, I can actually play around with this user. Give me a second. I will show you. Let us go back to the first example. And now we are going to change the valid through date to something in the past. So according to the rule, we said if the user is invalid, it should be locked. Okay. So let me change it to something in the past. Okay, and let us go back to our example. Let me refresh. And as you can see, these three are now need to be locked. Okay. I came up with a layout based on filtering those records that have the letter L. So to lock means all these users that should be locked, and default are all the users. Now what I did is, let me turn on transaction rainbow call. This transaction allows one to call specific insight, okay, with a specific layout, and to press a specific button, all done in the background. So what is our insight? The number is 1114. 1114. We would like to press the button lock user, and we will do that only for those that should be locked. And that's it. I will save it with the name lock users, and I will give it the name users to be locked. Okay, that's great. And now what I have to do is I have to schedule this report in the background. Everybody knows, I hope, knows how to do that. In a second, program, execute, background. This is my program, user lock, and I will invoke it immediately. Now, if it worked correctly, the system should turn this insight, okay, with the to lock and press the button user lock. Okay, and let me refresh this one. And as you can see, all the records were locked, and now the suggestion is to leave everything untouched because those that were supposed to be locked are locked already. Okay, so this is, I think, the last part of this one. But as I offered, as I promised. There's a bonus part. So let me show you how this dashboard could look like in Fiori. So I think it looks pretty amazing. Okay, it's cool. It didn't take me a second, okay, because it's actually the same insight. If I'm selecting these two records and I'm pressing user unlock, okay, this user will unlocked, okay, and when I refresh the list, the lock should be removed. Okay, first as a Fiori application, this is amazing because we didn't spend a second on writing anything, on doing anything. It's the very same thing we did before. But since Fiori is based on SAP UI 5, okay, it is responsive and it could be displayed itself according to the form factor of the device. So now you have it in iPod Air, and now you can lock users. Okay, give me something. I can unlock users from anywhere. Okay, let me refresh. Hopefully, it is unlocked. Anyway, let me summarize what we've seen. So I took the challenge, and in a few hours, a burden turned into work processes. Okay, and now my suggestion: you can either take some of the ideas that I use in my work, or you can implement the suggested concept either partially or to its full. If you like it, you can always open a ticket at support.dpro.biz, okay, and you'll get the explanation how everything could be downloaded from the out-of-the-box content. If you are not Insight Zap users, I think you should. Thank you very much for your time. Take care. Have a great day.